Hello, I'm BrigantiaBlackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome to the daily forecast for Monday, December 23rd, 2024. It is the 3rd of Capricorn, and it is the day of Mrs. Claus. So, on this particular night, I thought this would be a good opportunity for reflection as part of our Yuletide festivities. We've had a few pretty raucous days, and then, we have a lot more to come. So, I thought this would be a good breathing point. So, use tonight to look back upon your last year of practice, its impact on your life, what you did well, and what you think you could do better. And then consider what you want to do for the next 12 months and how you want that to be like. What do you want to be a game changer? What do you want to remain pretty much the same? Well, what has really worked for you, and that do you want to continue? So meditate, offer to your closest deities, ask for guidance, and above all, don't make this an exercise in beating yourself up. I worry sometimes when I talk about reflection, people are thinking, "Oh no, I must look at all of my flaws and foibles and flog myself for them." That's not what this is about, and that's really not what reflection is about for generally. This is really about, where's an honest assessment of where you're at and how can you go forward. Make this an upbuilding experience for yourself. And if your internal editor is being mean to you, give them a little figurative cookie. Tell them to be quiet so you can get along and think about, the kind of craft and life and spirituality that you want to shape, not about, anything else. And oh, I just noticed my hat is, oh, okay, that was okay, we're crooked. I think I'm a bit crooked in the we're having visual issues today. You know those days when your hair and your face and your little stocking cap just start getting long? I'm having one of those as I'm recording, so please bear with me, everyone. Reflection issues indeed. Moving along, get away from sartorial issues. Today's astrology. The sun is in Capricorn, cardinal earth, which represents ambition. The moon is fourth quarter Libra, cardinal air, which represents partnerships. Mercury is in Sagittarius, mutable fire, which is to be opinionated. Venus is in Aquarius, fixed air, which represents the intellectual. Mars is retrograding in Leo, fixed fire, which is tempered action. Jupiter is retrograding in Gemini, mutable air, which is to broaden perspective. Saturn is in Pisces, mutable water, which represents nostalgia. Uranus is retrograding in Taurus, fixed earth, representing rebellion. Neptune is in Pisces, mutable water, which represents intuition. Pluto is in Aquarius, fixed air, which represents reformation. Now, for our retrogrades, for Mars, reconsider what you really want. For Jupiter, reconnect with your true path. For Uranus, reconsider how you rebel. And for Chiron, restore the heroic spirit. For our moons, for the fourth quarter, remember it's time to release stagnant energy, get it out. And then the theme for the Libra moon is harmonious relating. So, relationship improvements all around, ideal time to make them. And today we are turning inward. We're reflecting upon all that we've done, all that we are. The sun in Capricorn can really energize us and in what we want to continue and what we desire to change. It will provide fuel for both if we let it. And then the Libra moon is making it easier to look within in a very kind and a very constructive way. Again, this is not the time of year to be beating ourselves up. And that's really not what our reflection should really do for us in general. This is about moving forward. Then our tarot for today is the Five of Gifts. Five represents severity, crisis, challenge, and transformation. The suit of gifts relates back to pentacles, coins, and the element of earth. And then the key words for the card are defeat, crisis, and poverty. And let's just be honest, a lot of people have had an economically challenging few years. It has not been easy for everyone, and some people are absolutely in worse straits than others. And it can be very difficult to cultivate the light within, to cultivate hope, and to continue looking forward to thinking, okay, how can I be productive? What can I actually do about my situation? It can be difficult because this kind of thing wears down the spirit. So, what we might do is for one, not beat ourselves up. All any of us can do is to make the most of our circumstances and resources that are available to us. If we are doing that, that is honorable. There is no shame. And, let's be honest, probably people who are accustomed to having a lot more would not necessarily manage as well as those of us who have always had to be a bit more concerned with, where the pennies are going. And then the other thing is, of course, is to just to remember our friends and our family, to remember what matters is really keeping company with them. We're not having to impress them. We're not having to make a showy display for them. What's really needed for our get-togethers this season is not so much extravagance as it is, warmth of our hearts, being genuinely glad to be around each other, and to just share in our traditions that we are able to do. You'll see in the background, you have these two figures. They're outside, they're in the cold. One has a crutch, for goodness sake. It's snowing. They are in a miserable state, but inside of that building, you'll see the warmth of that light. And if only they go into that building, into that shelter, they can benefit from that. And for us, going into the shelter of our families and our friends, that is essentially that stone wall, that stone shelter that can shield us from the outside elements. For us, we just need to be able to really take a lot of delight in our relationships, and then whatever we are having to bear economically, it isn't as bad. Then today's Celtic triad: three things which may not be opposed: nature, necessity, and decay. Nature always wins. There are no exceptions. Nature will out. I don't know how many times I've said some variation of that on this channel because it's true. It is for us to conform to the laws of nature. The laws of nature are not going to rearrange themselves to suit our preference. And then necessity. Necessity will refuse to go away until the need is met. And that's just the way that it is. And the more it's neglected, the worse that it gets. So when we are faced with necessity, it is best to accept that head on and actually do something about it straight away, even if it's a problem that has to be solved over a period of time. The sooner we begin, the sooner we'll get out of it. And then decay. Decay is the natural process after death of any kind, whether we are talking about the death of the body, the death of an era, or the death of a relationship. Whatever has come to an end, decay will take care of those remains, even the remains of our feelings. It will proceed apace, regardless of any attempts to disguise it. And I don't know. This is about it really does seem about acceptance, about the things which we cannot change, things that which are so overarchingly big, are just such unalterable natural laws that there's nothing to be done. There's only about how we choose to respond to these things. And I think it's worth us thinking about a little bit about how we accept the things that are actually beyond our control, and do we even choose to recognize that such things exist? Some, particularly within the witchcraft community, are very, very opposed to any idea that there are magical limitations of any kind. And I keep saying that nature has laws, since that magic is part of nature. So therefore, there are going to be boundaries. There are going to be things that can't be done, and that's usually when I get yelled at and scolded when I bring that up to somebody, or that's when they stop taking me seriously in anything I have to say. And it's not because of me, I don't think. I think it has more so to do with just the message and that reminder that there are things beyond our control. And sometimes people come to the craft because they are desiring to control everything, because it'll make them feel safe, or it'll feed them with a sense of, okay, I am powerful, therefore nothing can get me. And understanding that while you have more tools and greater latitude to work with these natural forces than what the average person does, uh, even the gods themselves are still subject to certain things. Reality is a thing, and we will ultimately all bend the knee to it, whether we like it or not. And there's a little bit more dignity in accepting these things rather than hitting that wall, kicking and screaming. So just tossing that out there. Now for our correspondences of the day. They are on the theme of healing. Color is silver, the plant is the gardenia, the animal is the dog, and the crystal is hematite. So when you are doing any kind of healing work, remember to remove any obstructions that would get in the way of that healing. If you are trying to get over a relationship, probably you don't need to have a fair picture around your house, on your phone, or any of your other devices. You don't need to be looking into those eyes all the time. And, we've all had breakups that occurred before we were particularly ready for them, and we have hung on to mementos longer than we should, longingly wondering, what if could have things have been different? Could things be changed? And then you turn around and like, why am I not recovering from this terrible experience? It's well, because you keep ripping open the wound. You're not even letting it scab you over. So of course healing isn't taking place. And so acknowledging our responsibility and our role and making sure that we're not working against the healing process. Not only will that help us identify obstructions and therefore put us in a position to know how to remove them, but also it will go through the process a lot more efficiently and a lot less painfully because we're not trying to have it both ways. We're not trying to have our cake and eat it too, if you see what I mean. Then today's hearth-keeping heads. It's all about tidy drawers. We've been talking a lot about tidiness lately, and I think that we all have enough stress in our lives without being thwarted by the sock drawer or not being able to find something in your shirts drawer or your favorite pair of pajamas or anything else. So keep your drawers tidy even during the holidays. It minimizes needless stress. It also prevents stagnant energy from building up, and it cuts down on the time it takes for you to sort out your wardrobe choices during this busy season, which means when it's time to get up and go, you can get dressed and you can go, and you will not be antagonizing your partner in life as much. So, I mean, all the way around, I think this is a win. Just putting things away nicely, it spares you so much aggravation. It saves you time in the long run. So, that's enough of that sermon. For today's practice, I use this night of Yule for reflection. Greet the dusk. Today's archetype is the Snow Queen. What do you think is the most magical aspect of her? Then, as meditation theme, possibly making the dark cozy. And then you might carry or wear some blue lace agate today. In our creative corner, it's all about those Christmas sweaters and those sweaters, including and sometimes especially the really, really ugly ones. They have become a staple of modern holiday traditions. And even when you see something that's truly atrocious, there's something about it that just it makes you smile. At least it makes me smile. And it's true, perhaps these sweaters don't necessarily flatter any of us as much as other garments do. But there's something that's really uplifting when people get into the spirit of things and they wear their sweaters, even if it's one that grandmama knitted that had a really dubious outcome. Even then, there's something that's just I don't know. There's a kind of camaraderie that I've observed that I think is really nice. So, if you have them, definitely wear them. Wear them unashamed. It's okay to wear an ugly sweater at this time of year. It's part of our tradition, so it's fine. It's fine. Then in today's journal prompt, we have another discussion about the returning light. It's not super noticeable yet, but the shadows are beginning to shorten. Will you miss them when they're at their weakest point a few months from now? It's a long ways until the summer solstice, and definitely we'll have more light than what we know what to do with then. So, do you think there's any aspect of having this darker, shadowy part of the year that you might uh, you might kind of miss and long for? Interesting thing to write about. And so, on that note, everyone, have a magical day. I wish you bright blessings and all of the joys of the season. I hope you'll come back tomorrow for the next edition of the Daily Forecast. That's bye.